Here's a conclusion that I want you to debunk or validate, but everything that I'm hearing here is that the perception of contact centers being cost centers, and that from the board level on down, how they're evaluated, that's setting the rules of the game, right? To the very beginning, the finite game has a finite set of rules, and there's a conclusion to it, right? And that seems to be the way that the rules are set for contact centers. And those rules are set above the contact center itself. So if there's any major change, fundamentally paradigm shift that's going to happen, if I was you as a consultant, I would be starting with executive management first. And I'd say, you guys have set the rules wrong. Good idea, bad idea? What do you think?
Yeah. All right. For me, as an independent voice in a lot of this, I try to do both, right? I try to resource the operations leader really well. But the other thing that I'm pretty clear about, whether it's on an engagement or even if I'm giving a talk or something like this, is like without having a executive who can sponsor and advocate for and champion these initiatives, it's really hard. I think for me, it has to be dual threaded. I'm focused on the operations leader, but also the executive team. Because if the executive team doesn't see the value in it, it doesn't matter. I think the other kind of part to this in terms of like, where does change actually begin? For me, if I'm an operations leader and I don't have a consultant or an executive or somebody who's in that ear, the best way that I can be relevant is to speak the language they're already speaking. Instead of trying to bring them into the contact center, it's like, hey, here's what you need to understand about AHT and CSAT and QA and NPS and WEM and like all like stop. What do they care about? Okay, so if you know that right now what they really care about is reducing churn in your customer base or trying to drive incremental innovations at stores, whatever it would be, how can you be relevant to them? How can you articulate the impact that what you're doing has on them? Most of the senior executives that I talk to that are kind of like meh on the whole CX thing right now, here's what they're telling me, Steve, is look, I've had people who tell me that, hey, we're going to do this improvement and it's going to improve customer satisfaction by this, or it's going to increase employee engagement by this, or it's going to do this to our net promoter score. All of these things, I think this is what it's going to do. But then when I look and it's like, okay, well, how has this increased revenue or reduced cost? And suddenly it's like, no. But look at the chart. Look what the chart. It's like many leaders aren't able to actually articulate how these vanity metrics are impacting things that have material effects on the business. The perception's not changing because it's like, look, it's a lot easier for me as an executive to see how expensive was it to serve a customer and did that customer generate revenue for me or not. That's why cost per contact, that's why revenue per customer, like that's why those things matter, because it's easy for me to see the dollars and cents of it. If I am a contact center leader and I'm not clearly connecting all of those other things to dollars and cents, going to be really, really hard to shift that mentality.